Assalamualaikum, salam hormat, and salam produktif. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to ESG Talk today. You are with me, Muhammad Wafi Arip from Malaysia Productivity Corporation in our program MPC ESG Talk third series. As usual, every Wednesday, 3 p.m. at MPC FB Live. ESG merupakan corporate strategi untuk mencapai 17 Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) yang telah ditetapkan oleh United Nations. ESG fokus kepada 3 perkara utama iaitu persekitaran environment, masyarakat, social dan tadbir urus governance. ESG mengimbangi dan mewujudkan nilai kehidupan yang lestari, sustainable dan harmoni. Fokus pertama, persekitaran, iaitu environment yang motifnya untuk mengurangkan pencemaran sama ada pencemaran udara, pencemaran sungai dan pencemaran di lautan, air and water pollution, mengurangkan pembaziran dan mengurangkan karbon alam sekitar melalui karbon yang dihasilkan oleh kilau oleh pelbagai jenis kenderaan maupun apa jenis pembakaran yang dihasilkan melalui tindakan salah guna manusia. Fokus utama kedua, masyarakat, iaitu social, adalah untuk memelihara hak asasi manusia, human rights, dan hak asasi pekerja, labor rights, bagi menghapuskan segala bentuk diskriminasi yang berlaku dan membantara segala jenis penganiayaan hak. Keadilan perlu ditegakkan dan dibela. Fokus utama ketiga, tadbir urus, iaitu governance, adalah untuk menghapuskan segala jenis penyelewengan, corruptions, sama ada dalam bentuk rasuah, bribery dan pemerasan, paksaan dan ugutan, extortions yang berlaku dalam pelbagai bentuk dan cara. Oleh yang demikian, corporate strategi melalui ESG ini wajib dilakukan untuk memelihara keharmonian produktiviti kehidupan yang seimbang dan mewujudkan sistem pentadbiran yang lestari ke arah kemampanan ekonomi negara yang produktif. For your information, with us today is Mr. Heong from Alliance Bank. He will be sharing with us easy loans for implementing ESG projects. Mr. Roy will be presenting the topic through online. Without further ado, please be invited, Mr. Roy.
So a little bit of introduction on Alliance Bank before I start into the slide. Alliance Bank is a local bank, actually, and we operate in Malaysia. Our HQ is in KL, of course, but we have many business centers and branches, especially in Penang, in northern part of Malaysia, as well as Johor, and even to the east and east Malaysia. Right. So we are all over the nation. So whether you are based in KL or not in KL, we surely can come and meet anyone who has anything to discuss. In fact, even if it's a face-to-face meeting. So apology, today I could not make it face-to-face because I have certain meeting in the morning and not able to catch the flight in time to make it in time lah. Right, that's why we're using Zoom. Okay, so I want to introduce what we call Alliance Bank. We call it our sustainability program, ataupun for some people, sustainability assistance program. And as the slides show there, actually we have a very simple objective. This program is actually to help businesses to more easily to transition into green, right? Or you can say ESG, or you can say sustainability. I think Ms. Ying has given all the different expert opinion of what is green and sustainable and ESG earlier, and definitely 100% correct, right? And of course, Duo Pharma also doing a lot of good stuff on ESG and giving a very good strategy and plan how to move forward. So macam mana bank boleh involve in this whole journey? Then for us, very straightforward. We look at 3 areas beside our financing support that we help companies who are interested to go into sustainability. The first one, as you can see on the screen, is of course areas that actually help them to go green. In this area, we work with UNGC, sama dengan Bursa for the listed company. to provide some form of assessment and advisory that can help a company to identify where are the high impact area for your business, and also create like a plan, right? A simple plan for you to move forward with some of these goals that you can, achieve some of these objectives to improve your sustainable adoption, right? So as the previous speakers have spoken, why is this important? Whether you SME or you are PLC, essentially this is what your customer require. This is what the supply chain is requiring, and this is what the regulation require, and eventually this is also what your financing partner like banks will require you to do. So in basically the faster you move into this journey, the better lah, right? And in fact, you're faster than your competitors. That give you a advantage as well lah, especially when you are tendering. Uh, but on top of the advisory, we also have a partnership program, which I'm part of the partnership team, to provide what we call trusted solution. Now, why is solution need to be trusted? Actually, there's many ESG provider or such green solution provider out there. But for the bank, we work with those that actually are stronger, and they actually provide good quality implementation, right? Because we believe that the sustainable project has to be of good quality so that it can have a long lifespan, right? Most of the time, if you install solar, it's not for 1 or 2 years. Actually, you may need to have it on your rooftop more than 10 years, right? And so therefore, whatever the component that being used, and also the company that is you provide the project to, we have to be sure to be around. So let me anyway come back to it very quickly. So now we have what we call a sustainability program. In this program, there are 3 pillars. The first one is sustainability, helping company with assessment and solutions. And also we help company to save costs. So that a lot of time, right, whatever cost they save when they're going green actually will help to pay for the loan, installment or financing that they take to implement the green solution, right? So this can be very important for SME so that they're not having to impact on the cash flow. Now, the second part about sustainability is we are also helping a lot on digitization. So we know that for going forward, for Malaysian company especially, to be more effective and competitive to the global economies, there's things that need to be done on automation and digitization. So that's why we also work with a lot of partners who can provide to digitize the backend, provide the automation for those kilang-kilang or warehouse, so that you have less dependency on the manual labor, or your manual labor can become more skilled labor, which also help on the social aspect. And of course, things like big data and IoT are slowly being put into place. You don't have to implement all at once. We have partners that can make it progressive and step by step, right? So if anyone have any interest to explore on this part, we are also able to provide the solution together with the financing or even the equipment financing, right? So the third part is that we also like to do a lot of profiling and business reach for those clients that work with us. Okay, so if you are a company that actually work with the bank and your sustainability project is an interesting project, we don't mind to actually share and promote what you're doing as a company to raise your brand profile. When you raise your brand profile, that also make your company a bit more attractive to the client. Walaupun it's an international client or local client, right? Because a lot of these corporates are looking for companies who are doing a lot of sustainable stuff, right? So your product a bit more sustainable, or your factory is a bit more sustainable, or your business employ the sustainable policies. These are things that we can profile for you. Now, how do we profile? Because as a bank, we have a lot of channel to profile. We have our website, we have our own customer base, we have PR and media, and we also do a lot of joint events. And if you look at it, we do this on our own budget, and as long as you are our client, we don't charge the client when we do some of these programs on behalf of the client. So there's nothing to lose, and actually it's a value added capabilities that we are offering on top of the financing. Yeah. So these are some of the MOUs that we have signed. And basically we work with of course our partner UNGC, Malaysia, Brunei, and of course, people like Bursa and MGTC are also our partners, right? So why do we work with them? Because as a bank, we cannot provide all the advisory services other than, of course, those that want to IPO, we will advise, right? But for things like ESG advisory or roadmap and development and assessment, we depend on our partners who are the experts in these areas, right? But if you work through Alliance Bank, you will get access to all these partners. So in one picture, I show the type of things that Alliance Bank can offer. We have sustainability roadmap and advisory. We do business partnership and matching, like what I mentioned. We have a lot of green solutions that you can explore. And also, we will have to do PR and brand visibility for your company when you work with us. We also work with companies that do certification. So sometimes, other than just having a roadmap, some companies, they look for certification. This certification can be provided to your client. And this client might be able to see that your certification differentiated you to versus a competitor. Yeah. So, and of course, our green financing program. So as you can see, this kind of solution provide a company the full picture of how you're going to go green. And you don't have to keep thinking about how should I do it. You will have the financing backing, as well as the solution, as well as the roadmap and the plan how to do it. Once you work with Alliance Bank and our partners. So just to share a little bit on things that we do with UNGC actually. We actually try to simplify the program so that the SMEs can, and we are working on something to enhance this right now. And we actually want them to just do a simple assessment so that it's not so complicated, right? And actually they can get the ESG report that can show where are the key gap, analysis that is developed by UNGC, MYB, which this report can then be shown to many of their clients or their supply chain that needed it, especially if you are a supplier to corporate and MNC, right? You can show this report that you're doing. And also you can generate a plan for your business. After that, we will provide the tools and the resource meaning maybe financing or the CapEx to proceed with action plan, right? So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 is an end-to-end solution. We don't leave anything out. We go from the start to the finish, right? And you'll be able to get, this is a sample, like the question are simple, it's not very difficult. We are talking about yes, no kind of question, right? And from there, you can actually come up with a nice plan, right? We show where is some gap and area to be improved. And actually you can create a action plan for yourself, right? From this action plan, if you needed the solution and the financing, CapEx for it, package, that is where Alliance Bank can also help, right? So again, this is a good thing that we're doing for the SMEs because we want to make it affordable and simple for SME to move into sustainability, not to be very complicated. The other area that we work with is with Bursa. Now, this area with Bursa is, of course, a bit more complicated because their requirements are higher because of public listed companies. And for that, we are working to help them to do the proper disclosures as well as to improve in various areas of their business so that their ESG rating, right, with Bursa will improve. Also, if you know of any company or you are a company that is have a plan to IPO in the next few years, come and talk to us because we also have the IPO advisory that focus on ESG. Because when you do your prospectus for IPO these days, actually ESG become a big part of it, right? And we are able to at least guide the company to say what areas they need to fix before they even been sponsored to do for the IPO submission. So this is a very critical part for companies who have plans for IPO. Another area that increasing now is certification for green building. Yeah, so Alliance Bank works with Green RE, one of our partners, to provide certification and look into the areas where any building can be made into green building. This including not only commercial building like a tower, but also in terms of like warehouses and also factories, right? Again, why do companies wanted it? Number one, if you are renting it, you can get better tenants and also probably command a higher pricing. But number two, if you are owning it and uh, doing your business in it, actually you also get another area of certification which you can be raised again to the clients who are increasing to request their supplier to be more green aware and adoption. So okay, so this one I just want to share berapa example ni, which is on profiling that we're doing, right? So one of the profiling we're doing can be on paper, press, I mean, right? So this is on the edge. So these are some of the client that we would have helped in terms of helping them to improve. Now this one was with the Bursa, so that's why you can see it's a public listed client. But more and more we'll be doing like SME clients as well as with even videos and YouTubes on SME clients, right? So these are things that we do, and they don't pay anything, right? They just work with us on our sustainability program, which I shared right earlier. There is also events that we go together with our people who partner with us or companies who have good green products, and we like to showcase them in events. And of course, UNGC has a lot of talks as well, and we are also part of those talks. And in some of these, again, the owners who have done well in sustainability, they can also share about their company and their profile on these talks. So our job is to try to improve the visibility of those company who are very serious and did a lot of improvement on sustainability and ESG. Now, of course, Alliance Bank, we are very experienced in what we call sustainability financing or sustainable financing. There are many areas that we finance in sustainability. It range from even EV, right, which is slowly picking up, right, in Malaysia. In fact, around the world, it has boomed, right? But in Malaysia, I think it's coming soon. And basically, we are, a lot of charging station providers are looking at financing. A lot of even companies, right? Companies are looking at EV trucks, EV vehicles, right? There's also other areas like I mentioned, like a warehouse, warehouse automation, and making it into a smart warehouse to be also more sustainable, right? Like even like temperature control, monitoring, right, to ensure that there's effective use of energy, right? Stuff like that. Rooftop solar is very common. Rooftop solar is common, and also sustainability linked loans and bonds, as well as green building financing, right? So as solar is one of the what I call the low hanging fruit or entry level for sustainability. As long as you have a rooftop, you can explore on solar. And actually, the government has come up with a plan called the Low Carbon Transition Facility, right? So this plan is good because if you go with solar, there's a savings on your electricity cost as your electricity tariff is going to keep rising, right? Because actually our electricity in Malaysia, I'm sure everyone knows, is heavy subsidized. Actually, it's heavy subsidized by the by government. And so sooner or later and slowly, some of this subsidy will be reduced, right? But if you compare, for example, I can give you an example, because we also have clients in outside of Malaysia. Uh, if you operate, for example, in like the Philippines, for example, their kilowatt per hour cost for businesses can be up to 3 to 4 times more than what experience in the businesses here. That's what we call the real cost of energy, lah, right? But over here, we are getting a reduced cost of energy, which is artificially helped by subsidies, right? But so in order to be more uh, towards the future, we actually have to protect the business against the rising energy costs that we know may be coming soon, right? So that's why solar is one of the good ways to do so. There's a low carbon scheme. Actually, you don't have to put any collateral. Most companies don't have to put collateral for an amount up to 10 million, which is quite good, right? But of course, it depends on the solar project. You cannot take more than what is the cost of the solar project. And at least and the rates are actually highly competitive rates because the rates are fixed. It's not tied to the base lending rate or the rising, what we call the OPR rate, right? Which impact most of the traditional loans. So that's another advantage of this loan, right? Which is green loan. And the tenor can be up to 10 years, which is also very long for a what we call a no collateral loan, right? Or in our industry, we call it a clean loan, right? And of course, because of all these special package, the energy saving will actually pay for the loan installment, right? So if you save, macam kalau you save 2,000 ringgit, maybe the installment baru 1,008, right? So actually you cover the loan installment and maybe a little bit of cash flow positive, right? After you pay off the loan, that all the savings goes into the pocket, right? And another good option we have is that either the company can finance it themselves when they purchase it, or if they don't want to put the capex, we also have partners who are called solar investors. So the solar investor will actually invest on the solar system onto your rooftop for free, right? So you don't have to pay, the end client don't have to pay. The bank will support and finance the solar investor to put on the rooftop. And that will be FOC to the end client. But of course, your saving is less because you share the saving with the solar investor. So it just depends what is most suitable for your company. But I would say that with this kind of plan, it really have no reason for any company not to explore to go on to using renewable energy if you have a rooftop for your business. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of the slide, but actually just want to share in a picture some of the wide ranging of sustainable financing we have done actually. And it's not just on solar project actually. So on solar we do the other thing I didn't mention here is what we call the energy efficiency. So there are also companies who will come in and do refurbish your energy equipment like aircon, or chillers and all that, right? And make them more efficient so that you will consume less, right? So solar helps you to use renewable, but your consumption remain the same. But if you do energy efficiency, at the same time, your consumption also reduce. So actually you will see a double reductions in the energy cost or your electricity bill, which is very profitable for many companies, right? And that's why for the bank, we are very happy to finance. So of course, there are also those that need water waste management. Okay, sama dengan EV, which I spoke about just now. And we also do quite a number of biogas. As if you have waste, like food processing, or of course palm meal, right? Some of these have waste, and actually it transform into energy, which can be either self-consumed or sell back to the grid, right? So there are a lot of actually good sustainable and financeable projects out there. And so we're always happy to have a conversation to see how we can move forward in some of these areas. Okay, so that's the end for my session. Yes, it's a short session. I just want to thank you for listening. There is a QR code that can get in touch with me, or else that is my number and my email. Just WhatsApp or email me anytime. And I once again want to say thank you to everyone for your attention, and also a thank you to MPC and UNGC also for organizing this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roy, for a very fruitful sessions. To the industry who need financial assistance, please do not hesitate to call Alliance Bank for easy loans in implementing ESG projects. Again, thank you, Mr. Roy. All right, guys, we have reached to the end of the session. See you guys next week on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Stay safe, stay positive, stay productive. Bye.